Welcome Top 10 channel. Today we will learn about Top 10 characters who have broken Captain America's shield. Captain America's shield is one of the most powerful objects in the Marvel Universe, not because it has superpowers like Thor's hammer Mjolnir, but because of its durability. Comprised of primarily, or wholly, depending on the timeline, of vibranium, metal found in the fictional country of Wakanda, Captain America's shield is impenetrable. It absorbs any and all kinetic energy that impacts it, thus protecting its wielder, but it's not without limits. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Captain America's shield is considered invulnerable, something that we've seen proven time and time again. In the comics, however, the shield has failed to protect Steve Rogers on numerous occasions, which unfortunately results in his demise. But to destroy such an object requires immense strength or godlike powers, and people with those kinds of abilities are far and few. With that in mind, here are 10 characters who have broken Captain America's shield.
Yes, I think it works.
10. Thanos. During Jim Starlin's famed 1991 miniseries The Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos aka the Mad Titan gets hold of the eponymous Infinity Gauntlet, which, at this point, is mounted with all 6 Infinity Gems: power, mind, soul, time, space, and reality. By putting the gauntlet on, Thanos becomes omnipotent, a seemingly unstoppable force. After Thanos wipes out half of all sentient life in the universe, simply by snapping his fingers, Adam Warlock leads Earth's surviving heroes in an attack on the Mad Titan, which results in a catastrophic failure. In a last-ditch effort, Captain America battles Thanos head-on, but with one swift blow, Thanos shatters Cap's shield. Could this be what Tony Stark saw in his nerve-wracking dream in Joss Whedon's Avengers: Age of Ultron? 9. Sentinels. Similar to what we saw happen in the future timeline in Bryan Singer's X-Men: Days of Future Past, in the alternate timeline Earth 94831, the Sentinels were once dispatched by the US government to eradicate the world of mutants. It was a genocide on the largest scale possible, and that didn't sit right with the mighty Captain America, who embraces his morality above all else. With virtually all of the mutants gone, including the X-Men, many of whom were Steve Rogers' friends and allies, the surviving heroes on Earth sought to avenge their comrades and took the fight to the Sentinels. But just like what happened with the mutants, the Sentinels adapted to the powers and heroes they faced. Captain America, with all his brute strength and high morale, never stood a chance. He was quickly defeated by the Sentinels, and all that remained was an image of his shield, with a piece broken off. 8. Thor. Before teaming up to take down Loki in Joss Whedon's The Avengers, Thor, Tony Stark, and Steve Rogers had a little spat in the woods, where the God of Thunder attempted to break Captain America's shield with Mjolnir. But he was not strong enough, and all they did was cause an explosion, destroying everything in their nearby vicinity. If Thor wanted to damage Captain America's frisbee-like shield, he would require greater strength, or magic, in order to do so, and that is where the Odin Force comes in, an ancient force fueled by the combined powers of Odin and his brothers Vili and Ve. Upon Odin's death, the Odin Force passed on to Thor, who assumed the mantle of King of Asgard. Empowered with the ancient force, an infuriated Thor struck Cap's shield with all his might, which resulted in nothing more than a minor dent. But being the good comrade he is, Thor used Mjolnir to pound out the dent, as one would do with a friend's car. 7. King Thor. When Thor became king of Asgard, he sought to be more involved in the lives of mortals, including humans, which is why King Thor had Asgard moved to Earth, specifically above New York City. Essentially, Thor became a god to humans. That didn't sit well with the US government, so in retaliation to King Thor's growing totalitarianism, Captain America and Earth's mightiest heroes attacked the former Avenger. But with the power of the Odin Force, combined with rune magic, King Thor was virtually unstoppable. And when Captain America attacked him, he destroyed the captain's shield, killing him in the process. However, all of this was later erased from the timeline when King Thor traveled back in time and prevented it all from happening. 6. Loki. Loki, the god of mischief and Thor's brother, is the third Asgardian on this list who has damaged or broken Captain America's shield, but he's the only character on this list who has destroyed the shield in a TV series rather than a comic book. In the Season 1 finale of Disney XD's Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, the Avengers launch a final attack against Loki in Asgard as the other 8 realms were lost. Unlike in comic books and live-action movies, the rules are somewhat lenient in cartoons, which is why Loki was able to use his magic, enhanced with the power of Odin Force, to shatter Cap's shield, all while mocking him. But when Thor used the Odin Force in the comics, he barely dented the shield, and he's a god of war. Of course, Captain America's shield cannot remain broken, and with the help of Black Panther, the captain's shield is reconstructed using a Wakandan vibranium machine. 5. Gregory Stark. In 2000, Marvel Comics launched the Ultimate Marvel Universe, which saw reimagined and updated versions of iconic characters, such as Spider-Man, Thor, and Iron Man. Many characters received varied origin stories, while others received new powers. For Iron Man, though, things were a little different. The writers took this opportunity to introduce a new character into the Iron Man comics and Avengers team, Gregory Stark, Tony Stark's older brother and a charter member of the new Project Avengers. Things remained largely the same for Captain America, with one notable difference: his cherished shield was no longer made out of vibranium from Wakanda, but rather out of pure adamantium, the same metal Wolverine's claws are comprised of. After a civil war between the Ultimates and the Avengers, seemingly orchestrated by Gregory Stark, Nick Fury and the remaining Avengers confronted Stark, whose nanites imbued him with superhuman strength. And with the help of the new Ultimates, the Avengers eventually defeated the elder Stark brother, but not before Gregory destroyed Captain America's shield. 4. Ultron. In the Age of Ultron limited series, New York City is ruined and the majority of the world's superheroes have either been killed or are in hiding. After first rescuing Spider-Man, Earth's remaining heroes gather, battered and defeated, in an attempt to ideate a plan that would bring down the villain Ultron. When they meet, Steve Rogers is seen sitting in a corner, beside his broken shield, with his head between his knees. It was a daunting image, one that showed the frailty of the Avengers, who were all broken, in regards to both morale and bones. While it's never revealed who broke Cap's shield, it's heavily implied that either Ultron or Ultron's Sentinels were responsible. After all, who else would be strong enough to break an indestructible frisbee? 3. Namora. The Exiles comics were not a good series for the good captain. Not only was his shield destroyed by King Hyperion and a mutant during the Mutant Wars, but by Namora as well, who is the daughter of an Atlantean father and human mother, and cousin of Namor the Submariner. However, instead of being Namor's cousin, on an alternate Earth Namora was rather his counterpart. And in that storyline, she was responsible for the mass killings of the Earth superheroes. As a mutant, Namora was convinced by Professor Xavier to not attack the surface world. However, with anti-mutant sentiment building, and as a result of the imprisonment of mutants, Namora ultimately decided to attack her surface world counterparts and became the world's ruler. That happens a lot in these comics. Just like with the aforementioned stories, Earth's heroes weren't on board with her rise to power and retaliated. Unfortunately, they didn't stand for much and were easily defeated. One of those heroes was Captain America, whose shield was chipped by the Atlantean ruler. While his shield didn't break in this storyline, chipping it is still quite impressive. 2. Hyperion. There have been a number of alternate Earths and timelines in the Marvel Universe, which contain alternate versions of heroes and villains. One of those villains was Hyperion, who became commonly known as the God Emperor. Years before his meeting with Steve Rogers, King Hyperion once ruled an Earth where the populace rebelled. Those rebels eventually brought about a nuclear holocaust resulting in the death of every human on the planet, with the exception of Hyperion himself. After spending years alone on Earth 4023, King Hyperion was later saved and given Storm's position on the dimension-hopping Team Weapon X. As leader of Weapon X, Hyperion sought to conquer all the alternate Earths in the multiverse with the help of alternate versions of Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel. But he was met with some resistance by members of the Avengers, namely Captain America, who tried to prevent Hyperion from taking over his planet, Earth 4400. Unfortunately, the captain failed his mission, at the cost of his own life, as well as his shield, which cracked in the aftermath. 1. Early days. As fans of Marvel's movies will understand, Tony Stark is a curious fellow, so when Captain America awakened in the modern world, Stark saw the perfect opportunity to upgrade the good captain's shield. Stark retrofitted the shield with actuators and various electrical components that allowed for the captain to control the object mid-flight. But, conclusively, he felt that the enhancements threw off the shield's balance, so he had them removed. However, removing Stark's upgrades did little to nothing in curbing the scientist's inquisitive mind. When Steve Rogers finally returned to duty as Captain America, he brought his trusty shield with him, but the shield proved to be far less impervious than it once was. Now, with almost every mission the captain went on, the shield would be destroyed. But, with these stories being told in comics, Captain America's shield would reappear in a future story, undamaged, and just as impenetrable. It got to the point that Marvel had to reveal later that, during all those times Captain America's shield was destroyed, it was because Stark had borrowed the shield for analyzing and had given Rogers temporary replacement shields. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe the channel to watch many new videos.